Hello everyone, welcome back to another long video tutorial. In this video, we are going to be building a contacts app in Flutter using Firebase. First, we are going to use Firebase authentication for sign up and login using normal email and password, and we are also going to add Google authentication. And after that, we are going to be using Firebase Firestore to create, read, update, and delete all our contacts. And then we are going to perform search inside all our contacts that we have. And after that, finally, we'll be adding a call functionality to call the contact directly from our app. So let's start our journey. First, we are going to visit console.firebase.google.com, and from there we are going to create our new project. The name of our project will be Contacts App, accept Firebase terms. Click on Continue. For now, we don't need Google Analytics. For that reason, let us disable it. Create new project. It will take some time to create our project. Within that time, we can create our Flutter app. Simply open your command prompt and visit the location where we are going to create the Flutter app. Use Flutter create command and the app name contacts app and create it. It will create a demo project for us. And now our contacts app is also ready. Click on continue. Simply go to the folder, the contacts app that we have created. Now, here we get the option of for Flutter. Select it. Now for the first step, we need to have Firebase CLI installed. To install Firebase CLI, we can either install it the standalone library or the npm version. So simply run this command npm install -g Firebase tools. It will install Firebase globally. So after installing, we need to call Firebase login. And here it's asking for some permissions. So if you want to give some reporting details to Firebase, then click on yes, otherwise click on no. And from here, we need to select our Google account where we have created our this project. So select the account, click on allow, and now it's showing Firebase CLI login successful. Now here also we are logged in and this is our email. Now we have completed this first step. We already have Flutter SDK installed in our system and we have also created our Flutter project. For this, we need to simply run this command inside this folder, copy it and paste it. It will activate Flutter CLI. Now it's showing Flutter CLI activated. So just copy this command again and paste it. This time it will add all the necessary package and plugins. Now we need to select our platform. For now, let's make it Android only. Wait till it registered the Firebase project. Now our project has been registered. Click on next. Now our next step is to call this line of code where we are going to initialize our Firebase app. So let us open this file inside our VS Code. We'll find a Firebase options.dat file that Flutter Firebase CLI has already written for us when we are registering the app. So what we are going to do inside our main function, we are going to change it as async, and then we are going to call widgets flutter binding dot ensure initialized. It will initialize all the widgets, and after that we need to call our firebase dot initialize app function. So simply paste it. For this, we need the Firebase code package. Open the terminal in VS Code and install Firebase code from pub.dev flutter pub add Firebase code. Now we have installed Firebase code. We need to simply import it, and the default Firebase option function is written inside Firebase options.dat file. Just import it, and then inside Android app build.gradle, we need to change the minimum SDK version to 21. And we need to also test our app, whether it's running or not. If the app is running successfully, then it means that we have initialized Firebase correctly. So just run the app and check. Our demo app is running successfully. It means we have initialized Firebase correctly and we are good to go. Here we are creating a new folder of views. First, we are creating our login page.dat file. It will be a stateful widget. First, we'll have a scaffold here. Inside body, let us have a column. And children's will first have a text of login. Then we'll have a sized box of height 10. There we'll have a text form field. Now just remove the demo home page that we get. The title will be Contacts app. And also the seat color, we are changing it to colors.orange dot shade 800. Let's not use home. Instead of home, we'll use routes. For now, our root route, let it be the login page. First, let us complete our login page. It will not be my widget, it will be as login page. And now let's call login page here. Now let's hot restart the app. So this is how our login page looks like. Let's modify it, make it more better. Let us install Google Fonts. Flutter add Google Fonts. And here, inside our main.dart, we'll use texting as Google Fonts. Let it be soda texting. Now increase the text size of this. Google Fonts dot soda, and font size will be 40 and font weight will be W700. Now let's stop the app and run it again from scratch. Let's modify the text field. Simply add a sized box. And in decoration, we'll have input decoration. And border will be outline border. Just to reduce the size. Inside the width, we are going to use media queries. Here we are telling that use the width and used 80% of the width available. So let it make it 90%. Okay. So in this line, we just told get the size of width and only use 90% of the width. We are almost done. Here, we need to have a label as text widget, email. Now we are done. Just add another sized box here of height 90. Now let us create another sized box of height 10. Copy this sized box again and paste it. This time the label will be password. Now two text form fields are created. Now we need to have a button. So for that, first create a sized box of height 10, and then we are going to create an elevated button. For on pressed, we are not having anything for now, and the text will be login. Make the elevated button more bigger. For that, let's also use sized box here. Change the width of the text form field. Now we need to also increase the height, otherwise it's not looking that great. Let's change the height to somewhat like 65. Save it. Now it's looking quite better. Also increase the text of this login button. Use text style and font size will be 16. Now we need to have another button. So simply add a size box of height 10 again. This time, first we need to create a new folder here. It will be images folder. We need to drag and drop our Google images inside the image folder. And after that, we'll create a size box. Again, it will have the same height and width of others. And then here we'll have an outline button. Child will be row. It will have a children's. First will be image dot asset. The part of the image, it was images slash google.png. And then we'll have a size box of width 10. Then we'll have a text as continue with Google. Style will be text style. Font size will be 16. Now before running the app, we need to go inside pubsec.yaml. Here in our assets, we need to mention our images folder that we have created. All images inside our images folders. Just save it, it will run pubget. Then come back. Here on pressed is required function. For now, let's give it a void function and save it. So the logo is not looking quite great. So what we can do, we can adjust the height and width. Now it's okay. Let's change the main axis alignment of row to main axis alignment dot center. So add one more button. Before add one size box of height 10. It will also be a row. It will have a text. Don't have an account? Question mark. And then it will have a text button of text. Sign up. Also make it center. So use main axis alignment to main axis alignment dot center. Now everything is ready. Now our login UI is ready. Let's add some text editing controllers. First one will be our email controller. Second one will be our password controller. And we need to link these controllers with our text form fields. First will be our email controller, a second will be our password controller. Now we are getting some bottom overflow. To fix it, we can wrap the column inside single child scroll view. Now let's also change the password to obscure. So now it's okay. Let's copy the full login page and inside views, create one more. It will be our sign up page dot dart, paste it, and here instead of login page, it will be sign up page. Most of the things will be similar, but instead of login, it will be sign up. And continue with Google will be continue with Google. And here we'll have already have an account and we'll ask them to log in. For the home page, let's create a simple home page. Just have a scaffold and it will have an app bar. Title will be text contacts. Okay, so now we have created our 3 pages. We have only added our root route as login page. Let's also add some other routes, like home will be our home page and sign up will be our sign up page, and login will also be our login page. Now let's just navigate the user to the sign up page when they press don't have an account sign up button. Using navigator dot push named, we will send them to the sign up route. And inside our sign up, we forgot to change the title to sign up. And when they press login, they are going to be navigated back to the login page. Use navigator.pop context. Now both the UIs are now built. Now let's write the functions that will create new accounts in Firebase, and also we are going to use them to log in. Let us add Firebase auth dependencies to our app. Flutter perf add Firebase auth We are also going to be using Google Sign-in. For that, we need to add Google Sign-in package. So simply call Flutter pub Google Sign-in. Now we have installed these two packages now. Let's write the logic to create a new account. Now we have built a UI for login and sign up. Let us write the logic to create a new account using email sign up, using email password, and also login using email password. So for that, create a new folder. It will be controllers. Here we are going to create a new file. It will be authservice.dart. Create a class authservice. First, we'll write a function to create a new account using email password logic. Create new account using email password method. It will be a future function because it's going to take some time to complete the function call. So let's name it as create account with email. Here we'll expect email password, make it async, and then first we are going to use try catch to handle any errors. We'll await Firebase auth dot instance dot create user with email and password. Your email will be our email and password will be our password. And after we have created our account, we can change the return type to something like something string and return the string as account created. That is used on Firebase auth exception catch errors and will return e dot message dot to string. So we'll get the message about the error that we are getting. Now we have returned a function for creating a new account. Let's write the function to login in with email password method. It will also be a future function. Let's also have a return type of string because we can return the string after our function gets completed. So make it login with email. We'll also pass email and password, make it async, and then we'll use try catch to handle any errors. There first, like our previous one, we'll use Firebase auth dot instance dot login, or it was sign in with email password. Same email will be our email, password will be our password, and here we can return as login successful. And on Firebase auth exception we can catch it, and in that case we can return e dot message, like the error message, convert it to string and return. So this was the logic to log in into our Firebase account. Now we need to add two more logics. The first logic will be to log out the user, make it as future. This time we don't need to return anything. So for that, let's just simply create a function logout, make it async. We don't need anything. So just use Firebase auth dot instance dot sign out. So this will sign out the user. And one more thing, we need to check whether the user is signed in or not. So for that, we'll create another function, and this time we'll return true or false. Is logged in, make it async, and create a new variable user. It will be Firebase auth dot instance dot current user. It means that we will check Firebase and find if current user exists or not. If current user exists, then we are going to return true, and if current user does not exist, we are going to return false. So here we are going to simply check if current user is not null, it means the user exists, then we are going to return true. It's just checking. So if it's not null, it will simply return true. We don't need to add another logic. And if it's null, it will return false. So now we have written all the logic that we are going to be needing. We don't need Firebase code, so we can remove it. Now let's just add functionality to our login and sign up page. First, we are going to work on our sign up page first. So if we press the sign up button, we want to be adding some validations so that user doesn't give empty spaces as input. So let's add some simple validations. For that, first, what we are going to do, we are going to create a new variable. It will be our form key. It will be of global state. It will be of global key. And it will have a return type of form state. Now, since these are text form field, then we can easily add some validations. First, inside the column, wrap it with a form. And since it's form, we need to add a form key. So our key will be our form key that we recently created. And inside the text form fields, we need to add some validations. Simple validations like if value that we are getting is empty, means user had not entered anything, then we are going to write as email cannot be empty, else we are going to do nothing. So simply return null. We need to add a null check here. Okay. Now this was for the password. So we'll not add this for email. We'll not add this for password. Just we are going to add this here. And for password, we'll check the value should be greater than 8. So our value dot length is less than 8. Then we are going to return password should have at least 8 characters. Otherwise, we are going to return null. Now we need to link this with our sign up button. So for that, when we press the sign up, we are going to check if our form key dot current state dot validate. We need to add a null check here. Now, if the user tries to press sign up without filling these fields, then they are going to get this error. So the height is getting changed. We cannot have constant heights here. So let's just do one thing. Remove this height properties from the sized box of that contains text form field. Now it's okay. We are getting the error as email cannot be empty and password should have at least 8 characters. Now we have linked password controller and text controllers. After we have done our checking, we are going to create our account. So for that, we are going to call auth service dot create account with email password, create account with email. Here our email will be email controller dot text and password will be our password controller dot text. Inside our create account with email function, we are returning either create account or the error message. So we'll get the error message if we have successfully created the account. Otherwise, we'll get the error message. So let's use then. And there, if our value is equal to the value that we're returning, it was account created. Then it means that we are successfully creating our account. We can return a snack bar. Snack bar will have a text that will show account created. Else, what we are going to do, we are also going to show a snack bar, but this time we'll show the value that we're getting. And the color of the snack bar, we are going to change the background color to colors dot red. Dot shade 400, and the text will have a text style of colors dot white. So now let's restart and try to create an account. So now let's come to Firebase console again. Here we need to go to the build and click here for authentication. Here click on get started For our this project, we are going to be needing email password. So click on enable. Passwordless sign in, we are not going to do that. And also we are going to add Google sign in. So for that reason, also add Google Pro. So we don't need to download the configuration file. Flutter has already done that. For this project, we are going to use these two sign-in providers. Now let's try to create a new account in our sign up page. Let's sign up. We're getting this message as account created. Let's check inside our authentication users. You can see that our account has been created, and this is the date when our account got created, today. And we are also getting the user ID for the user. Now, create account is working perfectly fine. We are having no problem. Create account is working fine. We are having no problem. Now after we show the snack bar as account created, we are going to navigate the user to the home page. So use navigator.push named. We are going to push them to our home page. Now let's try to create another account. So it's showing us account created, and this is the contacts page. This was the contacts page. It means the home page. Now, what we can do here, instead of navigator.push name, we can use navigator.push replacement name. It will not redirect to the sign up page again after we have created our account. Now, inside our home page, we'll have a drawer. Drawer happens to be on this side. And in child, we'll have a list view. List view will have children's. First children will be our drawer header. Here, let us add a column. For now, and let's just test the drawer. So this is how the drawer looks like. This part is drawer header, and this is the below part of that. Here we are going to simply add a circular avatar, and here we are going to show the email of the user. In column, first we are going to have a circular avatar, circle avatar. Child will be a text, like the first character of the email. So how are we going to get the first character of our email? So suppose the first character of email is 2. Now how we are going to get the first character of the email? So it's simple. We don't need shared preferences for this. We can simply call Firebase auth.instance.current user, and then from there we can get the email. And let's convert it to string first, and then extract the last, or let's extract the first character. Now it's T. Let's also change it to uppercase. Now it's okay. Let's increase the radius. Somewhat 30. Okay, now it's okay. After the circle avatar, we can add a size box of height 10, and then we can add the email. So we can simply call this. It will give us the email. Now we are also getting the email. Let's add main axis alignment to main axis alignment dot end and cross axis alignment to cross axis alignment dot start. Now it's just more better. Now here we are going to add our logout button. So after our drawer header, we are going to add a list type. So the title will be text logout. Let's also add a button in our leading. So now let's add the logout functionality to this logout button. We have already created the logout function. We need to simply call logout and it will log out the user. So on tab, let's call auth service dot logout, and then we can simply navigate the user. We'll use push replacement name and we'll navigate the user to the login page. And here we can also show a snack bar like so. Now let's try to log out from here. So it shows logout and we are now logged out. Here we can create a check user page that will check whether the user has whether Firebase on instance has a current user or not. Let us create a stateful widget. It will be check user. Here we are going to be returning circular progress indicator. And inside our init state, we are going to call the is logged in function that will either return true or false. If it's true, then user is already logged in. And if it's false, then we are going to ask the user to log in. First, here, let's use auth service dot is logged in. Then we are going to be getting a value either true or false. So if the value is true, then we are going to navigate the user to the home page directly. We'll use push replacement name here because we don't need to come back to this check user page again. And else, what we are going to do, we are going to navigate them to the login page. Let's add this inside our home main.dart file. Inside our root directory, first we'll be checking the user, and then we'll perform the necessary step. So let's try to restart the app now. So it's taking us to the login page. Now let's try to create another account. Let's try to sign up. Here we are getting as account created, and all the parts are also working. Let's try to restart our app now. Let's see what happens. Now you can see after restarting the app, we are getting redirected to the home page directly instead of our login page or sign up page. Now let us just log out. Now add functionality to this login page. It will be similar to our sign up page. Like first, we are going to create a form key, final form key. It will be a global key, and it will have a return type of form state. And inside the column, we are going to wrap it with form. And for form, we are going to add a key. It will be our form key. And when the user press the login button, we are going to validate all the forms. Form key dot current state dot validate. Add a null check. Currently, we don't have any validators. So simply copy them from our sign up page. Now let's try to log in. But before that, we have removed the height of the size box for both the text field. So just remove them. Now let's save it. Now let's try to log in. We'll get this error. Now let's log in. Now let's add the login functionality. Simply, we need to call the auth service dot login with email password. So for email, it will be email controller.text. Password will be our password controller.text. Now, after we are done, like our previous one, we can simply check this if and else statement, just copy them and paste it. Just copy them, and when we are logged in, we'll be getting a value that we are returning. So for this, now the value will not be account created. It will be the value like login successful. So if our value is login successful, then we are going to show login successful. Otherwise, we are going to show the error. So let's try to create a wrong email and wrong password. Let's try to log into a correct email but a wrong password. For this, let us copy this mail and give it a wrong password and try to add some wrong password. So here we are getting the error as password is invalid or user does not have a password. So now we are able to handle the error. Let's try to log in with a correct password. Now let's try to log in with the correct password. Here we are getting as login successful, and it's also showing the email of the user. Now that's great. Now let's work on the continue with Google function. For adding Google authentication, we need to add our SHA1 key. So simply come to project overview, and here click on settings, project settings, and from here we need to add a fingerprint of our SHA certificate. So we need to add our SHA1 fingerprint. So let me show you how you can add SHA1 fingerprint. Simply go to your local disk and then users, your users folder, and here you will find .android folder. And here you will find .android folder. And if you cannot see this folder, make sure that hidden files are checked in. So here you will find one Android folder. Click here, and here you will get one ADB key. So first, then we need to open command prompt from this folder. Here, first, if we have this ADB key, in most of the cases, you are going to have the ADB key. So for that, you are going to run this command keytool -list -v -keystore debug.keystore alias Android debug key. So simply copy and paste this code. Here it is going to ask for the password, and for the default password is Android. And here it will show the SHA1 and SHA256 key. And in some cases, if you don't have this ADB key, what you can do, you can use this command. I'll be linking this in the description to create a new key, but it should be done inside this folder. And after that, you are going to use this command and then add the password as Android. It will show the new SHA1 key. And then it will show the new SHA1 fingerprint. So from here, simply copy the SHA1 fingerprint. Don't copy the extra spaces. Copy it from inside your project overview, project settings, and here add a fingerprint, paste it, and save it. It will add the fingerprint. Now we are good to go. Now here we need to first write a logic for Google sign-in. We have already imported the dependencies for Google sign-in. Now it's time to write the logic. It will be for both for login with Google. It will also be a future function. It will be continue with Google. Here we don't need anything. Here we are not expecting anything. Inside try catch, we are going to do 4 things inside this function. First, we are going to create a variable. It will have a return type of Google sign in account. it will be nullable. Google user will await and then use Google sign in dot sign in. Next, we'll use final Google sign in authentication gauth. It will be await Google user dot authentication. So it will authenticate the user, and the final one will be to obtain a new credential. Final creds. So it will be Google or provider dot credentials. Here we need to specify access token. It will be inside our Google gauth that we have created dot access token, and then we also need an ID token. It will also be inside gauth dot ID token. You don't need to memorize all these steps, but you can simply copy them and paste inside your code. Now, after that, when we are obtaining the credential, we are going to sign in with the credentials. So await Firebase auth dot instance dot sign in with credential, and inside credential we'll add creds, the credential that we are obtaining. And inside catch, simply we can add on Firebase auth exception catch e. We can return e dot message dot to string. Let's also make it as return type of string. And here, after we are signed in using credential, we can return Google login successful. Now inside our login page, we are going to link this. We call auth service dot continue with Google, and then we will get a value return. We'll get if the value is Google login successful, it means everything is correct. We can move to the next step. Like this one, simply copy and paste. Else it will be like this one, simply copy and paste it. Instead of login successful, we can show Google login successful. Now let's try to log in with Google. Click on continue with Google. So it will ask you to select the email. So choose the email. And now you can see Google login successful. Now if you check here, it's showing the email and it's also showing the first letter of the email. So now we have successfully completed our Google login and sign up part. We are completely done with our authentication part. And for our sign up, continue with Google button will also do the similar task. So just copy all this and we need to paste this inside here. Now let's work on adding new data to our Firebase using Firestore. So we need to add this Cloud Firestore. Simply use Flutter pub add Cloud Firestore and it will install Cloud Firestore dependency inside our app. Inside our home page, we are going to be creating a floating action button. For now, on pressed, we are going to do nothing, but it will have a child as icon. Icons.contacts add. We can have an icon of person add, and here let's write the logic inside our controllers. We are going to be creating a folder crud service sys.dart. Here we are going to create a class crud services crud service. And before starting, first we need to get the user. So let's create a variable user that will have a return type of Firebase user. Firebase auth dot instance dot current user. So if it exists, so for that reason we are using nullable. Now first logic, we are going to add new contacts to Firestore. Before that, first we need to go to our Firebase console, and from there we need to go to our Firestore database. Here we need to create a new Firestore database. Click on create database. Let's choose production mode, and from here select the nearest location. For me it's Mumbai. Wait until the database gets created. Till that time, let us write the logic. Future add new contacts. It will have a string name, string phone, string email. Here we are going to use try catch. We'll use await Firebase Firestore make this async first, and then Firebase Firestore dot instance. Now, what we are going to do here, we are going to be creating a collection of users first. So here we are going to call collections, and first one will be our user, and inside users we are going to create a document of user ID of this user that is logged in. So first let's add a document ID. The document ID will be the user ID of the user. So it is inside user dot UID, and then we are going to create another collection. It will be contacts, and then we are going to add data. Here it will be a map of data. For now, we can create a map like map of string from a dynamic data. So data will be first name, let it be the name that we are receiving, email, the email that we are receiving, and phone, the phone number that we are receiving. Here we are going to add the data, and then we are going to return, and in catch we are, for now let's just print it. Document added, and here we can print e dot to string. This was the logic to add the new contact inside our Firestore. Now our Firestore database has been created. Let's start by adding a new contact. Now in the floating action button that we have created, we'll open a new add contact page. So let's create an add contact page. It will be a simple page that will have a scaffold. App bar will be the title text of add contact, and let's navigate using navigator.push named to the add contact page, and we need to also define our add route inside main.dart file. Now let's check it. So it's opening to add contact page. Here inside body we'll have a column. In children, we can copy the text form field that we are using in login and sign up. Here we are only going to be needing the validation on the name, and rest email and phone number are optional. So let's first add 3 text editing controllers. First one will be our name controller. Second one will be our email controller. And last one will be our phone controller. Here, first one will be the hint as name. And it will have a controller of name controller. So second one we don't need a validator. And for first one, if value is empty, then we are going to show enter any name. And here we don't need validators in both of them. Second one will be phone number. Third one will be email. Just modify the controllers. Add sized box to add some spacing. And then we can have a button like this one. First we'll add a sized box, and then we'll paste our login button. On press we'll have some different functionality. And it will not be login, it will be create. Here we are getting bottom overflow. To fix it, we need to add it inside single child scroll. Here we need to also add a form key for some validation. It will be global key and have a return type of form state. And inside column we are going to wrap it with form. Key will be our form key. And here first we are going to validate our form key. And here first we are going to run all our validations. Let's check it. Here it's giving us enter any name. And all the other fields are optional. If user does not want to provide, then it's okay. Now here, let's try to create a new contacts by the logic that we have written. It was inside CRUD service. CRUD service dot create add new contacts. Name will be our name controller.text. Phone will be our phone controller.text. And email will be our email controller.text. Now let's check out debug console, and from here let us try to create a new contact. Let's try to create it. Here we are getting some document reference exception. Let's try to close it and run the app again. Let's again try to create another contact. We are getting some right field permission denied. So one thing I think that we need to change the rules here. Here, read and write is set to false. So we need to change it. We need to check if request dot auth is not equal to null. It means that we'll only allow read and write if our request dot auth is not equal to null. Means user need to sign in, otherwise they are not going to write inside database. Just publish the rules. Now rules are saved. It will take some time to propagate. Till that time, let's try to restart till that time, let's try to create the user once more. So now we get as document added. So let's go inside our data. Now we can see here we have the users. Here we have the user ID, and inside we have another collection contact. And there we have a document. Here we are storing the email, the name of the user, and the phone number of the user. So it means that we have complete one functionality of our app, right, like creating a new document. Like when we are creating it, after that, we'll be redirecting the user to the previous page. We'll just simply use navigator.pop. And after we are adding now we are adding documents, but we also need to show them inside our home page. To do that, let's write the second logic to read the documents inside our Firestore. Read documents inside Firestore. It will be a string function, and it will have a return type of query snapshot. Let's make as get contacts, make it async star because it's a string function. Here we are going to use Firebase Firestore.instance.collection. The collection was users, and after that we have the doc ID similar to this, and then we have the collection contacts. So just copy it. Now it is done. Let's store it inside var contacts, and then we are going to return the contacts. So let's use yield contacts. So we need to also add snapshots. Now it's okay. Now this will be enough to display our data inside our home page. So now let's display all the contacts inside our home page. Here, the body of the scaffold will be a stream builder, and it will have a return type of query snapshot. Here we need the builder, so it will be context. It will provide us context and snapshot. Then we can check if snapshot dot has error, then we can show return text something went wrong. If snapshot dot connection state snapshot dot connection state is equal to connection state dot waiting, then show a text as loading, and else we are going to return the data that we have inside our snapshot. So simply use return. We'll be returning a list view. Children will be snapshot dot data dot docs. We need to add null checks. Dot map. It will provide a document of document snapshot. So use document. Just use map string comma dynamic data, the data that we are going to get. It will be as document dot data. Add a null check first. Add a null check here, and let's return as map string comma dynamic. So the document data that we are getting, we are storing that inside the data variable that we are creating. And we are changing the form of data to map that will have a string as key value and string as key and dynamic as value. And here we are going to return list type, then convert it to list, and then to cast. So it will just convert it to a list and then it will also cast. Now, inside list type, we'll have a leading of circle avatar. Child will have be a text data and the attribute was name. Now let's try to run the app. We are getting null check used on null value. It means we have something wrong inside our So the thing that we have done wrong is that we are using stream builder, but we have not provided the stream. So for that reason, we are getting null check use on null value. Here the stream will be the string function that we have created. It was inside CRUD service dot get contacts. Now let's try to restart our app. Now we can see we are getting some kind of data, but we need to complete. The title will be text data, attribute was name. Here we are using the first character. For that reason, we are using 0. And the subtitle will be text data font. Yes, now it's working. Now we are also going to be having a trailing. It will be a icon button. Icon will be icons. Icons slash call, and on pressed we are going to do nothing for now. So now we are successfully able to create and read the data. Let's try to create one more account. Also make this column to center. You can see after we are creating the data, our document is getting added instantly. and it's also displaying us the data. So you can see the order is not correct. We want the order as alphabetical ascending to descending. So we can do that by simply adding order by, and it will be name. Now you can check that the order is now correct. Let's try to update the contact. First, we are going to write another logic, update a contact. It will be similar to our add new contact. So just copy it and paste it here. It will be update contact. Here we are going to expect name, phone, and email. And then we'll call Firestore dot instance, and this was the location, and instead of add it will be update. But before that we need to specify the doc ID. So the doc ID is unique for every document. We need to also expect the doc ID. Now we can update the document, and here we can display as document updated inside our console. Now let's add our on tab functionality. Now we also need to view the contact when we press it. Like it should show the name, email, and phone number. So we are going to create an update contact page that will show the profile, and if the user wants to update, it will also give an option to update. So let's create an update contact page, and here make it a stateful widget. The UI will be similar to our add contact, so just copy it and paste it here. Instead of add contact, it will be update contact. And here we are going to call CRUD service dot update contact. Here we also need to pass the document ID. So let's just expect the document ID when we call the update contact page. String document ID. It will be required. So it will be widget dot doc ID. Now on tab functionality, we are going to call the update contact page. So here on tab, we are going to navigate to the update contact page. So for that we'll use navigator dot push. This time we are using material page route because we also need to send data. And doc ID was inside document. dot id. Now let's try it. So it's opening up the update contact page, but it's not showing us the contacts. For that, what we can do, we can also pass all this data and make it required, like name, phone, and email. Make them required, and then inside the init state, we are going to assign name controller dot text is equal to the value that we are getting, and this will be same to the other text form field. Now it's okay. Now we need to also pass name. So name was inside our data name. Phone was inside our data phone, and email was inside our data email. Now we can also see the data is also coming. Now let's try to update. So you can see data is also getting updated. Now we have also completed the update part of our app. Now let's write the logic to delete a contact from our Firestore. It will also be a future function, delete contact. Here we need the doc ID, make it async, use try catch, we call Firebase Firestore dot the same thing like this one. Dot doc ID, and then we are going to specify delete. It will delete the contact, and then we can print inside our console that contact deleted. Then we can also catch if we have any error. We can print the error to string inside our console. Now let's add the delete button inside our update contact page. Here, inside our update contact, this will not be create, it will be update. And after the update contact, we are going to have the delete button. Let's make it as outline button. And here, we are not going to validate the form. We are going to call CRUD service dot delete contact document ID was inside widget.doc ID. So now let's try to delete this contact. So you see our contacts got deleted. So this is the way of deleting a single contact. So now I hope that all the correct functionalities are clear. And now let us add a search box so that we can search the contacts from our Firestore database. For that, we are going to have a search box inside our home.dart. Here inside, let us have it inside the app bar, and inside bottom of the app bar, we'll have a preferred size. We'll have a preferred size, and preferred size will be like size of the, here we need to specify the width and height. Let's give the width as media query dot of context dot size dot width, 80% of the width, and height will be, let's give it 80. Now it's also requires a child. So for now, let's give it a container, empty container, and let's save it. Now we get the bottom app bar as this much of size. I think it will be enough for our search box. Inside the container, we are going to have a child of size box, or let us just copy it from this one. Here we'll also have a text editing controller. It will be our search controller. We don't need any validations here. The label will be search, and it should also have an icon, prefix icon. It will be icons.search, and we can also have a suffix icon. It will be icons.close, but we don't want to show this close every time. So for that, we can write a logic. For that, we can write a logic. If our search controller dot text is not empty, then we can show this icon button. And inside icon, we will be giving the icon of icons.close. So here, if it's not, then we are going to return null. So if our search controller.text is not empty, then we are going to show the close button. Otherwise, we are not going to show the close button. So let's test it. So it's not showing. We need to set the state, otherwise it will not show. Inside our text form field, on changed value, we are going to set state. Now let's check it. Yes, so now it's working. When we are clicking, we are getting the close button. So on clicking the close button, what we are going to do, we are going to close the search. So we are going to change search controller dot clear. Now let's test it. So it's just clearing the search. Let's add a padding of age unsets dot symmetric vertical 14 of 8. Now it's okay. Now we need to create the search functionality inside our app. For that, when we type something, it should load the data like the search. But for that, let's just create some dummy contacts. Now you'll find one problem that we're getting, that when we press the close button, it's closing, it's clearing the text, but it's not closing the focus that we are having inside the search box. So to close the focus or change the focus, what we can do, so it will be search controller, it will just change the spelling. And we are going to create a focus node. Let it be focus node. Or let it be search focus node. What we are going to do, we are going to set the focus node of this text field to search focus node, and while clearing the search controller, will also clear, will use search focus node dot unfocus. Now just notice the change now. If we type something and if we click on close, it will also close the keyboard. So now we are done. Now what we are going to do, we are going to add the search logic. So come to CRUD service again. Here, when we are reading all the contacts, we are also going to add search. For that, we'll be expecting a string of search query. Let it be required. Or we don't need it. Let's make it optional. So here we are going to modify the code. Here we'll expect some search query, and then with the help of that, now to add search functionality in our app, what we are going to do, we are expecting search query, that is an optional parameter, and we will change this to contacts query, and we'll remove this snapshot part. And then We are going to add a filter to search. Here, we'll check if the search query that we're sending, it's not equal to null, and search query is not empty. In that case, we'll perform this. First, we are creating a string end. The string end will contain our search query that we are sending plus an unique unique escape character UF8FF. What it does, it basically telling that the string end should contain our search query, and then it might contains any character, we don't care. So it's basically done for searching. Now we'll use contacts query, and then we'll pass contacts query dot where our key was name, and then is greater than or equal to. Greater than means it's a big match and lesser big match. In that case, we'll give our search query, and is less than to the search end that we have created. Let's make it a search end. And now our contacts will be contacts query dot snapshot. Now what we are doing, we are sending a search query. It's an optional argument, and if it's not null and it's not empty, then we are creating a search end that will have the search query plus an escape character, and it will search greater than or equal to the search query that we are passing, and it will search less to the search query of the search end. And then we are returning the query snapshots. So let's just modify our home. Let's modify our home page. Currently, inside stream, we are calling this function. So we'll not call this function here. Instead, we'll create a stream. It will be a late stream of query snapshot, and it will be underscore string. And in our init state, we are going to initialize the stream to CRUD service dot get contacts. Now it's okay. Now, since we are using stream, then we need to dispose all the widgets that we are done on closing. So simply call dispose. We need to dispose the search focus node. Now here we are going to create a search function to perform search. But before that, let us add some dummy contacts. So now it's okay. We have added some dummy contacts. So now it's okay. We have added some dummy contacts. What we are going to do, we are going to perform search on it. Inside the search contacts, we are simply going to expect search, and then we are going to call stream and initialize the stream to get service dot get contacts, and here will provide search query as search. Now let's test it. So now we are specifying the search, and here when we are changing inside and when we are changing some text inside our search box, we are going to call this search contacts function, and we are going to specify the value. And now let's try to test it. Here we are not getting any result. Now you can see that if we search anything, then we are getting the result. So now our search functionality is also working. Let's also add the function to this button. Like when we press this, it will call the user, it will call the contact. So for that, we need to install URL launcher. For that, we need to add URL launcher dependency. Simply use Flutter pub add URL launcher. Now after we have added URL launcher, and we need to set the string here again to CRUD service dot get contacts. So now we'll find that when we use this and when we press it again, we get the file step. Now, one thing you will be noticing that when we search something and when we don't get the result and when we close it, we are not getting or showing any result. So that's wrong. When we close it, it should set the state and show all of our contacts. So for that, what we can do, first, we can set the stream controller to CRUD service dot get contacts. And now, if we try to search something and then we close it, then it will show all of our contacts. And if we don't have any contacts, like a new user will not have any contacts, in that case, we can show, here we are showing a list view builder. So if our snapshot dot data dot docs dot length is equal to 0, it means we don't have any document. In that case, we can show a text as no contacts found. Else we are going to show the list view. Here we need to add a null check. Now let's try to search. If we add some random value, it will show us no contacts found. And if we close it, it will show no contacts found. So now it's okay. If we type some random, it will say no contacts found. And if we close it, so we need to set the state after we are here. We need to also set the state. Now let's try. Let's add some random value and let's try to close it. Then we are getting the values. So that's all. Now to add a call feature to all of our contacts, what we are going to do after we have installed URL launcher, we are going to open home.dart file, and inside there we are going to write a function to call the contact using URL launcher. First, we need to write the function that will call. So let's add it call user. Here we'll expect the string phone number. Let's make it async, and then the string URL will be tel and the phone number. If await can launch URL, here we need to provide the URL. It will be inside URI.parse, and we need to provide the URL. And then we need to launch URL, our URI.parse, Here we need to specify the URL. Else, like, we can throw an error, could not launch dollar URL. Now, when we press this call button, it should call this call user function, and we need to also supply the phone number. So let's add the functionality to the call button. So this is the call button currently, and on press we are going to call the call user function, and here we need to specify our phone number. Our phone number was inside data phone. So now let's try to test it in any of the contacts. When you press this call button, it will open the dialer and it will give an option to call. So that's really great. Now let's try it again. So this way we have just completed our contacts app, and all the functionality in our app are working. So that's really very good.